like we've got a good group here and not too many adding back in. So we'll go ahead and kick it off with some brief introductions. I'm Alex Barlow. I'm the VP Programs here at the Canadian Food Innovation Network. If you're new to us, we'll be giving you a bit of a brief introduction. And I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah Hibson.
Hi, everybody. I am the program manager for Ontario at CFIN, and I am the lead on these two programs that we're going to be presenting to you today. So thanks for joining us.
The programs we're going to be presenting to you today have been supported by the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, or FedDev Ontario. So thank you to them for their support of this program. And on a housekeeping note, before we sort of dive into who we are and these two initiatives, we're in a webinar mode. So the chat is one space where you can go ahead and see some resources being shared. Our colleague Jaleh is sharing, I believe, some links to a Wordly function, which you can click and follow through if you're looking to listen to this session or review a French transcript. Donc, si tu veux écouter cette session en français ou voir une traduction, tu peux aller là pour voir ça. And the Q&A function is the best way to ask questions, and we will take them at the end. So if you have them, use that Q&A function in Zoom, not the chat, because that's hard to find at the end after you've all been having conversations in there. So we'll go ahead and kick it off here. So again, if you're new to CFIN, we're entering our fourth, or sort of ending our fourth year since our incorporation and establishment. We're a national network focused on food innovation. Obviously, it's in the name. And we're a member based organization. We have over 7,000 members. Over 2,000 of those members come from Ontario. And our members care about how innovation can grow the food sector. And when we talk about the food sector, we're really talking specifically about food manufacturing, food service, so restaurants, distribution, as well as food retail businesses. And we're really interested in how we can accelerate the adoption of technology in these portions of the food value chain, but also how we can help technology companies create new solutions, Canadian solutions to Canadian food sector problems. So we're here to both fund innovation, but also connect players across the market. We're a big country. It's a big sector. There's a lot of SMEs, over 6,500 SMEs in food manufacturing alone. So connecting all of you and giving you an opportunity or a forum to connect is really important. And we are national, and we're distributed nationally. So we probably have a staff member near you. And in Ontario, we have a lot of our team, but more specifically a regional innovation director who's there also to connect with you and help support your business growth. So our impact to date, in terms of our membership and our social media, you're welcome to follow us on LinkedIn. If you're not a CFIN member yet, I certainly encourage you to do so. It's free. We've been developing a lot of new content. So if you're looking to understand emerging trends in precision fermentation or AI in the food sector, you can find some great content on our website and on Yodel. And through our funding, we've funded over 90 projects in Canada, awarded almost $20 million in funding. And out of that, we've helped create over 355 new jobs or co-op positions and 135 new pieces of innovation or IP that are targeted at the food sector. Who are our members? I mean, it's a wide breadth. We have everything, pretty heavily into food manufacturing, a large number of government agencies, other funding agencies, innovation supports, a lot of post-secondary institutions, but the bulk of our membership is small and medium-sized businesses, likely, falling into the category of many of you, and as well as a number of food tech companies who are creating new solutions for the sector. So we really combine the three things. So funding, often a popular draw-in for folks, and as VP programs, I've certainly seen that. We've adjudicated over 500 funding applications since we started, and supported, as I said, about 96 of them today. We also have Yodel, which is our digital meeting place, sort of a LinkedIn and private space for our members where they can come and ask questions like, who's got co-packing abilities or a spray dryer I could try some new processes on? Who's the best supplier for, I don't know, cinnamon? And what is everyone paying for their nutrition labeling software, and what's the best tool that you use? So questions like that you can ask your peers and source a lot of great information. And then on the ground, we have 5 regional innovation directors, one based here in Ontario, but also Quebec, Atlantic, Prairies, and BC. And those individuals are there to not only provide sort of that human touch and connection, and hopefully help you bridge some of the regional gaps we face in this country. Our innovation priority areas. So, obviously it's a wide-ranging portion of the value chain that we focus on. We're looking, at new technology for food manufacturing, at solutions that can be implemented in restaurant operations, even customer apps and services that might make it easier for consumers to track their food, be healthier consumers. Packaging is a big area as well. Next gen ingredients in food, so novel ingredients either generated through even a circular solution, food waste recovery, but also more healthy ingredients to make us, healthier and live longer. Digital supply chain, so tools that extend throughout the supply chain to drive better data capture and management. Clean tech, of course, how can we make our food and our food processes greener? Food safety and traceability, and then, food waste and circularity. So they're big, big categories, and usually a home for a number of firms within them. And those priority areas are guiding the programs that we're going to be presenting to you today. And Sarah, is it over to you now?
Yeah, I can take it from here. So we are fortunate to receive support from FedDev Ontario to develop and deliver 2 new programs to our ecosystem in Ontario. The first one that we're going to be talking about today is the Unpuzzling Foodtech Ontario program. This is just sort of a quick overview of what we're going to go over today in the session. The second one is the Ontario Food Technology Pilot, and as well, we're going to review in some more detail about these programs. So we go to the next one. Awesome. So right, so starting with Unpuzzling Foodtech Ontario, and we can just jump right in from here. So the Unpuzzling Foodtech Ontario program is a 12-week non-competitive mentorship and peer cohort program, specifically designed to help accelerate the demonstration and commercialization or scale up of new novel food technology solutions. And we will be running a number of cohorts over the next sort of 18 months, I believe up to 3 in total. And in that program, our intention of the program really is that, so this is created specifically for food tech companies, startups, early stage ventures located in Southern Ontario. We're looking for essentially supporting these companies to be able to develop really strong value propositions, really hone in on your product market fit, support, advancing business skills outside of sort of the technology scope that a lot of these innovators bring to the table, and allowing them to understand and develop new strategic industry relationships that, whether that be investor partners or potentially pilot partners for demonstration of tech. The idea here is we're helping to accelerate those relationships and supporting Ontario Foodtech solutions to get to market faster. The program is structured in 12 weekly 90-minute virtual sessions, each of which will be delivered by an industry expert specializing in a particular subject matter. In that process, we also have retained the support of a cohort mentor. In this particular instance, we're looking at Dr. Jody Dexter. She is affiliated with BioEnterprise. She is an innovation advisor there. She's also a key contributor to the Canadian food tech landscape and specializes in IP knowledge mobilization and supporting food tech getting to market. So really, excited to have her as our cohort facilitator and mentor who will follow the members of each cohort or this cohort through the different sessions that we'll see over the 12-week span. In addition to the sort of subject matter experts that will be coming in to deliver really tangible and impactful sessions on, not just your product market fit 101. It's going to be really a deep dive into who, what, where, when, why for product market fit, and how do each individual business really work on and develop their go-to-market strategies so that they can actually build partnerships that will net the positive outcomes that they're looking for. So this is kind of what we're trying to achieve here. In addition to the cohorts, we've got a number of value-added services that will be offered to each of the cohort member companies. And side note, so for each company that applies, we're taking up to 12 per cohort. That registration will cover up to 2 participants from each firm. So you could have founders, you could have senior leadership, you could have, maybe a business development representative, something of that sort, to be a second that can participate in this program as well. The one-on-one advisory services, there's more than that are listed here, but we are working and really proud to announce that we're working with the Center for Commercialization at Conestoga College to support IP support services for each of the cohort members. And in addition to that, they will also have consulting. Each cohort member will receive a value in consulting time to be able to build and or sort of move beyond your, if you have an existing IP strategy, a strategy that will help you to protect and support commercialization of your tech. Again, I mentioned our cohort mentor. We're also really lucky to have Galen Udell of Novate Technologies, who's going to come in and support pitch coaching and pitch refinement for our cohort members. And then at the end of the cohort, sort of our second last session, we're going to be hosting a panel of investors, innovation scouts, and funders who will hear and provide tangible feedback to participants on their pitches in order to help them, move forward in a constructive manner to be able to really achieve those outcomes. The other sort of tangential benefits that you're going to receive as a participant here is you're going to benefit from the CFIN ecosystem that's being built nationally around matchmaking services and innovation scouting programs. And what those mean, I won't get too much in detail. Maybe I'll let Alex touch on it later. But essentially what this means is if, say, we, want to find a pilot partner or a first adopter of technology, we could help facilitate and help identify different partners in the market that may be willing and able or a good fit for you to approach and or pilot with. In addition to that, there's also the innovation scouting program. And so it's something that we're building out more robustly, but essentially, if there's industry demand for technology, we will support making connections with different food tech providers and different businesses. And that's a huge benefit in my mind. In addition to that, you're going to benefit from a peer network of food tech innovators. So different non-competitive cohorts is what we're going for here. So essentially, you're going to have a group of peers that you're going to be able to continue this dialogue with, to lean on, to network with throughout, even once graduating from the program. And then in addition, there's going to be a few other ways and avenues that we'll be able to connect you with investors and potential pilot customers across the food sector in Canada. So in our mind, a really valuable program offering, and excited to share them with you. So Alex, do you have anything to add to that one, or is that?
No, I think that's a great overview. And again, this was a program that we created because, as I mentioned earlier, we've adjudicated over 500 applications from different food tech innovators from across the country. And of course, we can't pick all of them, but what we do see is often individuals who have great technology, a really strong innovation, but haven't quite nailed that product market fit yet, or need a little more information about the nuances of the food sector, or just need to make more connections. And this program aims to do all of that and hopefully give you a really strong leg up, in funding applications and pitches, both the customers and investors as you're looking to scale your organization.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. So we're moving on here to eligibility, and don't forget, if you've got any questions, throw them in the Q&A or in the chat here, and we'll try to meticulously check those off as we go through here. But I wanted to highlight sort of what are we looking for in terms of eligible applicants. And so you need to be a Canadian incorporated company. CFIN membership is required. It is a free membership, so you are able to just sort of sign up on the website, and from there be able to then log in to access further information as well as different content profiles, things like that through Yodel. The other piece is that the expectation is that for the sort of 3-month period that we'll be running these cohorts, you're committed to these sessions, and you're going to come and you're going to put the work in, put the effort in, and really get the most out of the program. And so that's sort of one of the key pieces that we just wanted to reiterate here, is that this is a commitment and you're going to get out of it what you put in. So it's really important that you can make that 90-minute commitment for this virtual session as a priority for your business. And then the other piece is, we are working with FedDev, so making sure that you are located in one of the eligible census catchment areas for FedDev Ontario. They're listed here. If you have any questions about eligibility, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar, and we can clarify if you're in any of these areas. In addition, I want to make it really clear, if you're new to CFIN, our scope does not include agriculture or agri-tech. We really are focused on post-farm gate food tech solutions that service the food processing, food service, retail or grocery, and food distribution sectors in food across Canada. And what we're really sort of aiming for in terms of the readiness level of the businesses is that your technology is at around a readiness level of 5 to 7, and you're approaching that that stage where you're looking for first adopters, or looking to do a pilot of your technology with a food company. And so that's where we want to, or where we see the most impact for the program that we've designed. And then ultimately, are you developing a novel food technology or ingredient that is ready to be commercialized and has applications within one of our 9 innovation priority areas that we listed above? Again, if you have any questions about this after, feel free to reach out. We'll share some contact information at the end of the segment. I guess at the bottom here, just worth noting, it's not a hard rule, but B2B solutions are a priority of the program. And so, consumer-facing technologies, in some cases, are very highly valuable and quite innovative, and, are not excluded from being eligible here, but just wanting to make it really clear that sort of the focus here on the tech readiness level is, businesses that are selling to other businesses so that they can, have more of a wholesale model. Okay, so.
There's a couple questions, Sarah, in
Yeah.
the chat about specifically about Southern Ontario. So maybe Southern Ontario covers basically anything south of Muskoka from Ottawa to Windsor. So if you're in Northern Ontario, you will not be eligible. These are the counties that are listed here. So, if you're in London, you're eligible. If you're in Ottawa, you're eligible. And if you're just building out your business, which is another question that's been, if you fit these criteria, but most importantly, you're incorporated, then you can participate in the program. So look at these qualifications, and Jaleh has been kind enough to paste in the chat the SurveyMonkey link where you can go and submit your application for the cohort, and that you will then be able to submit your application.
Perfect. There's a few other questions in here, Alex. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you wanted to address some of them now or if we wanted to reach out
I think
individually.
we can keep going, and I can answer some of them while you chat maybe
Okay.
about the application process. So I'll
Perfect. All right, so in terms of the application, this is a little bit busy here, I apologize. But the application process for Unpuzzling, Foodtech Ontario is currently open for our first intake. In order to apply, again, you do need to register to become a CFIN member. Pretty quick and easy process. It's on the CFIN website included here below. And in order to do that, you log into Yodel using the membership credentials that you create. You can see at the top, I've just taken a little snippet here of the top of our website, and you can see here, join CFIN or sign in. Once you've joined, you can sign in. If you already are a member, sign in, and then that just sort of ungates some of the advanced information and access the application forms. So once you've logged in, navigate to our programs page. This particular program is the Unpuzzling Foodtech page here, you can see. And then there will be more information on the landing page about the program, some more key details. Obviously, we're giving you a high level glance today, but that will give you more answers to some of the questions that you might have. It is live currently, so you're welcome to jump on it in tandem to sitting here. But the next step would be there is an apply now button or call to action. Click that. That will lead you directly to our simplified intake form. It is more of a survey. It's not the same if you have applied to CFIN funding in the past. It is a different process. So it is quite straightforward, quite lean. We didn't want to make it too burdensome in this process because we do know that you're busy and this is a little bit different than funding. So just wanted to make sure that this is something that's pretty clean. And now, if you have any questions in that process, again, feel free to reach out. We will be sharing contact information later. And then the way that the review process will be once I think the intake closes on August 5th. And so once we've got all of the applications in, we'll take a look at them. We're going to be scanning them for alignment with the program eligibility. But then in addition to that, we're trying to really closely monitor sort of competitive technologies and making sure that this is a collaborative and open opportunity for entrepreneurs, founders, ventures to be able to share and grow. And so we want to make sure that they're not feeling like they're giving away any secrets to their competition. So that'll be one thing that is definitely considered in the screening process. In the event that we do have, similar or, closely competitive entities that want to be considered for this, we would reach out and we would sort of let them know that there's some conflict, and we would sort of determine whether or not it's something that we can do in a following cohort. So we will be running 3 of these through September 2026. So if the first one isn't exactly right for you, we will be doing this again 2 more times. So just keeping that in mind. And then in terms of, I guess, Alex, will you go back for 1 second? There is actually, so for those applicants that apply to this program and are selected, there is a cost to the application process. That being said, if cost is a barrier to your organization, that is something that can be brought to the attention of myself and Alex. And, there are ways that we can sort of work around that and, or, find some sort of bursary or support to make this accessible. The key here is that you're taking ownership of your own opportunities, and that, again, you're only going to get what you put into this. We want to make sure that you're driving the bus on how you access and participate in this program, and we want it to be considered something that is highly value add. So reach out if that's a barrier. Okay. And moving on.
People are just asking what the cost
Oh.
is. So to participate in the cohort, we've set a cost of $750. That allows for 2 members of your firm to join throughout the 12-week period, and then receive all the associated benefits, including one-on-one time with an IP pitch or an IP specialist, your pitch coaching, etc.
Yeah. And just to add that too is, yes, 2 people will be included in this. The cost, sorry, just getting distracted by these questions coming up. This is not a cost to apply. This is a cost to participate. So there is no fee to actually complete your application process. Once selected to be in a cohort, the next step would be, CFIN following up with you and sort of working through that process. Okay, so do you want to jump forward? There we go. Okay, so here's a snapshot of what we've been curating so far. Key dates, we'll just start with that. So the intake for the first cohort opened on July 2nd. We've been seeing registrations and applications, so far it's looking good, but we definitely want to make sure that we're giving as much opportunity as possible to as many firms as possible. So I'd encourage you to get your applications in before August 5th. That is our target close date. And then in that, once we've closed the application, we'll do a review and do some outreach. But ultimately, the notification is scheduled or earmarked for August 19th, which gives you about 3.5 weeks until we kick off the first session, which starts on September 10th. So the week after, the first week back after Labor Day is when we'll start. And this just gives you an idea of some of the key topics and some of the individuals and experts that will be participating or contributing to the learnings. And so we're going to open it with more welcomes and sort of an introduction to the food industry presented by our CEO or CFIN CEO, Dana McCauley, as well as Dr. Jody Dexter, Innovation Advisor and Cohort Mentor. So they're going to take the cohort through some welcome, some introductions, as well as some background and overview to provide context to the next several weeks. Session 2, that's where we're working with Ala Darwish from C4C at Conestoga College. He's going to be talking about intellectual property for food tech commercialization. He's doing a full session on that, as well as, again, those value-added services will be available to each cohort member throughout the duration of the cohorts. The next week, we're looking at product market fit, which is really core to what this program is trying to achieve. And so making sure that, if you've got a technology that you've been developing and refining, how do we actually clearly articulate where that fits in the market and who do we go after in our approach? So we're actually doing 2 sessions on that, and that's going to be hosted by Chris Bardos from Product Hackers, who's also an EIR and a innovation advisor at both the DMZ Incubator and Foresight. And so really excited to have Chris here. He's got tons of experience with scaling business and technologies, and excited for him to take you through his process for product market fit. On session 4, we've got some really exciting guests that are going to come in to give us another sort of landscape level lens of how to engage with the industry, right? So we're going to get perspectives from Restaurants Canada to talk about how do food technology companies actively engage with the food service industry, making sure that you're approaching it properly. What are some of the challenges, bottlenecks, different things that are going on in that industry that could be addressed by different food tech solutions? So that one's all spinning great. We're just waiting on our second speakers to confirm in that session, but again, going to provide tons of value. And that one will be focused more on food processing. So if you're looking at manufacturing, that will be another area where we'll get some really key insights for what is going to move the dial and get food processors excited to work with food tech entrepreneurs. We're taking a break over the Thanksgiving week, just giving everybody a time away. And then session 6 will commence on October 22nd. There, we're looking at Galen Udell from Novate Technologies. And so from there, we're looking at ways to finance your early stage company. And that's when we start the Perfecting Your Pitch session 1. In that session, it's going to be, where are you today and how do we get you on track to make a compelling pitch to potential investors or clients. And so Galen's going to take every individual business through his process and, get that started. It'll be something that we work on through the different sessions throughout, but that'll be the first sort of kick for that particular opportunity. Session 7, we're looking at finding customers and validating your solutions. So what are some of the technical constraints to consider, how to actually reach out to potential customers, and how to sort of work through their process internally to be able to adopt or implement your solution, and is it something that's going to work for them? Matt Tom has done some really great work on, especially in the alternative protein sector, and we're excited to hear from him on the sort of his experience with product development and innovation and implementing it with customers. Session 8, we're finalizing that topic still. However, the expectation there is that, we're going to be adding in some visibility for different technologies and tools to help support business automation. So to be confirmed there, but excited to jam pack that session full as well. Session 9, navigating regulatory barriers and food safety considerations. We've got one of our ultimate recipients and clients of CFIN, Sharif Rani from Real Life Robotics, coming in to talk about some of the trials and tribulations and successes that they've had introducing robotics. And then Lisa Coe from Shelf Ready, who specializes in food safety, and she's going to sort of take us through what are some of the considerations for food tech providers in entering food facilities, and what are some of the barriers that might need to be addressed and overcome in that process. This is probably more detailed than you wanted to know, but session 10, also, we're going to do a PR and brand building exercise with Lauren Arnold from Category Communications. So they're going to take you through really honing in on your messaging and visuals to make sure that you're putting a compelling brand out there that's going to draw in customers. And finally, session 11, we're looking at Perfecting Your Pitch investor panel. So we're working with a number of different funders and vested organizations who are interested in hearing about new food technologies and potentially getting involved. The idea is tangible feedback to help you improve. However, depending on who's entering these, there is a real possibility that, if you are investor ready at this point, there may be an opportunity to secure investment in something like this, or at least start the dialogue. And then we're going to wrap out the sessions with the entrepreneur's mindset, resilience, and building a sustainable business programming from Christine Manning, the Christine Manning. If you don't know her, you should look her up, but she's really about supporting entrepreneurship through the different phases of building your business and making sure that you're balancing the demands on your personal self, as well as the business, as well as your team, and all of the different facets in between. And then wrapping up with some feedback and sort of opportunities for us to support moving forward once the cohort has been completed. So this is giving you just an idea of what is to come, but hopefully this is enticing and interesting to everybody on the call today. All right. All right.
Sorry, I had to find the mute button. So we'll pop into the associated program. So once again, I think a key thing to highlight here is as an organization, as sort of as our leader on our funding activities here at CFIN, I've seen applications from food innovators coast to coast, and I've seen some great technologies and solutions, but not often always the refined product market fit and the refined pitch, but also the ability to substantiate, your own side of the costs of a project through investment or raises, etc. And so the design of the cohort program is to really arm you with the tools and capabilities to then be more successful in all sorts of conversations, and notably, hopefully, your funding applications. Because I think the reality is at the moment in Canada, if you are looking at growing your business, grants and incentives are usually a key part of that. And it's part of why CFIN has often been a first mover and supporter of companies that are early in their business. I know from a number of our applicants and current projects that they have articulated that, because we put money in, they were either able to move their project to a point where they could raise investment, or all of a sudden our investment gave other investors the confidence to put dollars in. And that's a role that we're very proud to play. And so, on top of the cohort, which is meant to help feed you into our funding programs and be more successful, we secured additional funding through FedDev to run this program, the Ontario Food Technology Pilot. This program at the moment is not yet live on our website, so you're getting a sneak peek. And if you're viewing this recording at a later date, then it'll give you a summary of the information to come or that's posted on our website. But the program is focused on accelerating the commercialization of your novel food technology. So what we want to do is help you finish out those steps in your business, in the development of your technology to be able to support pilot activities. So if you've got a really great proof of concept or MVP, and now you need to build a first model and install it, for example, in a restaurant, or you need to produce the first batch of your novel food ingredient and get it out to a customer, that is the sort of activities that we will fund through this program. So we want to be taking your food tech from a TRL of 6 through to hopefully 8, where it's demonstrated in an operational environment. We want to help you with testing and validation work. Hopefully we'll help incentivize a partner to work with you, because someone usually is happy to try things, but at an early stage they're not always willing to pay for it. We've seen that a lot. And we want to facilitate that collaboration between you, the developer of the solution, and an industry adopter or a future customer. And hopefully these projects will give you the data that help you support the scaling of your company and its future adoption and even more investment. So you've got to align with one of our innovation priority areas that we discussed earlier in the presentation. And as noted, we're really looking at helping those who are sort of in a prototyping stage move through to hopefully their first commercial system. We may not get you there. It's a 1-year project, and we'll go through the funding amounts shortly, but we want to get you as far along as we can. When the applicants to this program and for eligible projects, they are submitted by the technology developer, the innovator. All of our funding programs are like that. At the moment, we're always giving money to an innovative firm who's got their concept, their idea, and maybe even a pilot customer ready. And if you don't define yourself yet at that stage, then the cohort is a fantastic opportunity for you. And if you do define yourself at that stage, I would note that you still probably could learn a lot through the cohorts. But For projects to be eligible under the Ontario Food Technology Pilot Program, they've got to be submitted by a Canadian corporation. So yes, you need to be incorporated. Your business needs to be located in Southern Ontario, in one of those counties we listed earlier. And you need to be doing less than 5 million in sales. If you're pre-revenue, that's less than 5 million in sales. So hopefully that clarifies. And we want to be doing in-market demonstrations. So sending samples to a customer, putting a test unit in a restaurant, helping you do some initial testing again, and really trialing your solution to prove it out. If you don't have a test partner, we can likely help you find one, but that will be an important component to your application. We're looking for projects that can be completed within 12 months of them being approved. And no surprise, you have to be a CFIN member to apply. If you're not a CFIN member on today's call, we really highly recommend that you go and join. You have to be a member of CFIN to apply to any of our programs. And once you become a member, we'll map you over onto our application platform. Intellectual property. So we are usually expecting through our projects that you are either creating new IP or contributing to your existing intellectual property portfolio because of your innovation project. So if you're on this call and you're going, I have a recipe for a new protein bar. There's not really anything novel. I'm making a new food product. You're likely to be a bit of a tougher fit in our funding programs under that kind of model. So we're looking for innovation, IP-driven solutions. Again, if you have yet to start on your IP strategy, that is a requirement under our funding programs. So we will help you pay for it, but also if you have not even gotten started on that process yet, you absolutely must. It's critical to your success, and there's tons of metrics that show that a strong intellectual property strategy, that those companies are better at raising capital and growing sales. The cohort has those tools and those services included in them. So start with the cohort. I really highly recommend that if you're not yet in your IP journey. If you've got a great IP strategy, you've been working on it, that's great. We've got a question in the application that will ask you to detail that, and it is part of our assessment of your project. So CFIN is, with innovation in the name, intellectual property is very interesting to us, whether it's a trade secret, whether it's an actual full patent. We want to know what you are doing to protect your innovations, and specifically the ones that we help you create through our funding. We don't take any ownership in your intellectual property. It's all yours, but we want to know that you understand what those assets mean to your business and that you have a strategy to protect them and hopefully monetize them. So we'll be providing funding at 50% as a grant contribution to a maximum of 100,000. We will be running intakes for the applications, and the first one will open later this summer. Your total eligible projects are going to be costs are going to be somewhere between 20 to 100,000. You've got to provide some matching funds. It can either be your own money that you have through investments. It could be that your partner or your implementation partner is willing to put some cash on the table. We'll accept both. And we expect that we'll fund 8 to 12 projects per intake. As part of all CFIN programs, we charge a project management fee to run our programs. What helps pay for the software infrastructure that accepts your applications, the reviewers, etc. So that's something that we do charge as part of your approval under our funding programs. And there's more information in our program guides and in our frequently asked questions about that if you are curious. What we will pay for, we're quite open on that. Of course, labor being one item. We will do technical labor of staff employed on the project. We're not going to pay for someone's vacation or holiday or overtime, but we will cover the hours of, say, your software developer or your food scientist. We'll cover subcontractors and consultants. So if you need to work with an academic institution or a third-party consultant in order to refine your solution, maybe get someone to build it for you, we'll cover that. The materials, if you need to buy Arduino kits or, custom enclosure and etc., that part also would be covered. Equipment that you require for the project, not just equipment generally, but that you specifically require for the project, as well as other direct costs, shipping expenses, etc., will also be under consideration under the program. Things we won't pay for. Overhead, the rent of your facility, the hydro to keep the lights on, the laptop computer for your engineer to work on. We're not here to fund earlier stage R&D activities. So, TRL 3, 4 are not going to be eligible under the project. Security or safety certifications generally are something that our funder won't let us cover. Alcohol, business class flights to your test site, any cost related to preparing your application or your claims, and anything not originally outlined in your budget. Pretty standard rules. Something to know that if you are an active applicant to funding programs and you often use a third party to prepare your applications, this program does not allow that. So if you engage consultants on a contingency basis to write your application into this program, that's not allowed in our rules, and it's part of the terms and conditions under the funding program. And Sarah, I believe I turn it over to you for stacking.
Yes, so stacking. If you have other funding for the project that you are going to be applying for, that's okay. We allow stacking on this program of eligible project costs of up to 75%. And so what I would really recommend in the application process is making sure you're really clear about what other programs you are applying for and leveraging at that stage, because it will be asked in the application form. And we do also request or encourage you to reach out to myself or Alex just to clarify if you have any questions about stacking limits, to make sure that we won't run into any issues later on when it comes to approval or just reimbursing of funds. Okay. All right. So in terms of the application process, so we, as with all of CFIN funding programs, we anticipate the OFTP intake that will be opening this summer will be highly competitive, and just simply applying and qualifying at a basic level does not guarantee success. We accept applications through an online portal system. Alex alluded to it earlier. It's called Smart Simple. And if you want to meet the intake deadline, we want you to be sure that the date of the posted deadline at midnight is when the intake closes. In terms of the portal, we will allow for supplemental documentation to be included in support of the project. So for example, if you've got a pitch deck or a business plan or some sort of letters of support for your project, quotes, anything like that that you think would add value to the application being submitted, there is a space to do that in the portal. So definitely something to consider. And it is a requirement of the program that we receive 2 years of financial statements. If you are not at a stage where you have this kind of financial record, there are alternatives that would be acceptable and considered to meet this test. But we definitely do prefer an audited review engagement or notice to reader financial statement independently prepared. And then just because you meet the financial test or can show that you have the capacity to complete the project, again, doesn't guarantee approval of your application. There's a lot of factors that go into the review process, which we'll get into in the next slide. So some of the application questions. So these will be, coming soon. This has not officially launched on the website yet, but it should be live in the next couple weeks here to at least look at the information. So this will be included in the program guide document that will be on the landing page, and essentially outlines exactly what we're going to be asking for in the application. I'd encourage you to really study these as well as the program guide. It does provide a lot of context into what we are looking for and will help you to be successful in your application. To be considered a full and complete application, we will be expecting the completed application template, with all of the sections filled in, completed budget and work plan template, which is also, these are all in the portal, and then any attachments that are requested that support the proposal. And finally, we are including a video pitch. So a link to a up to 5-minute overview video about your project or solution. If you don't already have something like this created, it's not a big deal. What I would suggest is, jumping on to your laptop and recording, a bit about what it is that your company is trying to achieve, what is your technology, and what are some of the challenges that you're hoping to prove out and overcome in this pilot process based on your project. So there you go. Here's more about the video pitch. These will be presented to the reviewers and staff as part of the decision-making process. And so it is just, your opportunity to really share with us your personal sort of sentiment behind why this project is valuable and beneficial and deserves funding. So obviously the remainder of the application will speak for itself. However, this is just more of a, a little bit of a personalized touch for you to be able to articulate, the who, what, why, where, when of your project to the team. And then we've got also in the program guide, one thing that I really appreciate about CFIN as a new employee here is that really, really transparent with what the expectations are in this process. So in addition to the application questions being published in the application guide, you also will have the assessment criteria really clearly articulated in a template like this or in a table like this. And what is really key and important, if you haven't applied for funding before, or if you haven't been successful with funding before, this is really the key piece that you really need to focus on in that application process. And, we're breaking it down to the point in terms of the scoring of each section and, what exactly we're looking for in those questions. So, highly recommend that you're referencing this in the program guide as you're going through the application process to make sure you're hitting all the key points and all of the things that we're hoping that you will explain in these sections in order to give yourself the best chance of success. Okay. Once the intake is closed, the projects will be reviewed, and those that are compliant will proceed through to the scoring phase, and we'll have 3 reviewers that will review them. Each reviewer is screened for conflict of interest prior to getting access to any information, and this is sort of the CFIN process in general, but that is something that is definitely highly important to us and prioritized. So identifying those conflicts is key. So we won't be worried about any kind of overlap of information sharing. Now, top scoring submissions are then selected to move to the next phase, and from there will be decisioned accordingly.
Yeah, we select from the top scorers. That's typically how we behave. So it's pretty unusual that we don't just select the top scoring applications, which is, again, just to reemphasize, as you look at this scoring criteria, first it's in the guide, and it corresponds to a question within the application. So make sure as you're writing applications that they, align with your responses. But also, if you know you have a weak area, you can see they also align with the categories and topics we plan to help you tackle through the cohort. So, we often see sort of more limited answers to some of these key questions, and product market fit probably being the biggest one. And that is something we really aim to help you through the Unpuzzle cohorts refine and develop. There are going to be multiple intakes for this program. So we're going to run one this year, one very late this year, and then next year, and probably one more after that. So there are future opportunities to apply here. And our aim is really to, through the cohorts, provide a really strong funnel of applicants so that we can support you end to end through this initiative. And the application intake dates will be published on our website. I'm going to take you through a very brief demo on our platform and just on how to use it, and go ahead and start you can go there and look at some of our active programs currently, as well as our future intakes. So I'm going to show you here. And Sarah, you can see my Google Chrome screen, yes? Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm going to log in under my test account. If you want to use the system in French, you can go select it here and do that. If you've never logged into this tool and you've just become a CFIN member, sometimes it takes us 24 hours to map you over, but the first time you go and use this, do the forgot password function to get yourself set up. The instructions are all right here. There will be a multi-factor authentication the first time you use the system, but we'll log in here. And this is what you see when you log in. You can set up your organizational profile. So this is for your business. Go in there, make sure your address is in there, your website. There's a profile there on your business. You'll want to make sure that all of this is complete. And then you click Save. And back at the home page, I can see the open programs available from CFIN. I can see the applications I have in progress. Once I go and start under our open programs an application, let's say I clicked apply now and opened a new submission and saved it. When I come back later to work on my application, it will be found here under in progress. Do not go and start another one because none of the information that you already put in will be there. So you want to go ahead and visit the open programs. That's what we currently have open and available. You'll find as the OFTP program is live, it will be listed there. And you can find any of our other programs. We currently have at this moment a few open, and they have their own due dates. And then as your application is reviewed and assessed, you'll find it under approved and declined. This system sends you automated emails. When you submit it, you'll receive an automated email that your application is being submitted, and you'll receive a copy of the application. Should it be declined or approved, within 60 days of your submission, we will issue the responses. So it takes us 60 days to score everyone, decide what we're doing, and move ahead for decision making. If you submit an application that's missing some information, or we require you to make some changes, we often, within 48 hours of you submitting the application, will send you an email saying, we've requested some revisions to your application. And you'll log in under in progress. You'll be able to see the application and see our comments. So we'll tell you, in your budget, you just said labor, $100,000. That's not enough information for us. Can you add some more information? Or you didn't complete your work plan. Could you go and complete it? So we'll give you some instructions about what we're looking for. We'll also give you a deadline to make those changes and then press the resubmit button. So everything happens on this system in terms of submitting your funding applications. We hope it's easy to use, and if you have any issues trying to access it, of course, always happy to help you. We're right tight to time, so we'll first, I think I'm turning it back over to Sarah. There's been lots of great questions in the chat. Recommend if you have any more, please post them and we'll address them after these two brief slides.
So for anyone that, we've said this a million times, but if you're not a member, connect with us. There's lots of ways you can do so. Jump onto Yodel, become a member, follow us on LinkedIn. We've got lots of different media accounts available. YouTube has tons of different video and content talking about some of our different programs and recipients of funding success stories. Lots of things are happening on our platform. So on the next slide, if you are a member company in Ontario and you're looking for more diverse information about the services offered by CFIN or different programs that might be available to you, Marsha Drucker is our Regional Innovation Director for Ontario and would be more than happy to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to her for any further information about CFIN programs, offering services, anything that you might need from us. And then finally, thank you for attending, and thank you to the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, FedDev, for supporting this initiative. We are really excited to deliver it to our food ecosystem and excited to hear from you. I'm Sarah Hipson, Program Manager for Ontario and for these programs specifically. You can reach me, Sarah, at cfin-rcia.ca if you have any other questions. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day. The slides or this recording will be added to the landing page for the program. So if you need to reference back, you're welcome to do so. Okay. Anything
Thanks,
else, Alex?
everyone. No, thanks so much and have a great day, everyone. We're going to end the webinar now.
Take care.